Welcome to the Guildxyz podcast, where you get insights from the world's best community builders on how they use technology to build guilds of the future. I'm your host, Gary Sheng, and I cannot wait for you to learn at least one more tool or technique for organizing and scaling your community. Today's guest is my good friend, Jimi Cohen, who is easily the most energetic community builder in Web3. You're going to learn so much from him. You may have been blessed to learn about Jimi through his live streams, his Twitter accounts, his world record-breaking activity, planting thousands and thousands of mangroves in a 24-hour span. Jimi is just a wealth of insight on how to build a scalable community, and so I cannot wait for you to hear the insights that he's going to drop in this episode. Welcome, Jimi. Jimi, I am so excited that you are here with us for this first season of the Guildxyz podcast. You're one of my favorite people. Your energy lights up my world and so many people's worlds.
Wow. Thank you so much.
What you've done in building the Let's Grow community, but also just like building the energy in the crypto Web3 space, the Regen space. It's been really inspiring. So I just want to say welcome to the Guildxyz podcast.
Hey, thank you so much, Gary. I appreciate that. Coming from you, that means a lot. Actually, Edge City was one of the coolest experiences that I've had by a conference. That was definitely the highlight of the whole Denver experience. And now that I'm getting back into events, this is it definitely served as inspiration. I've been taking notes and studying what you've been putting out. So thank you so much. That means a lot.
Well, I would actually love to know what notes you took, but we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Please tell our beautiful listeners about the Let's Grow community.
Okay, so Let's Grow DAO is an on-chain Moloch DAO that is one person, one vote, and it's all about uniting and growing the Regen movement. So we started out by doing these 24/7 Twitter spaces throughout every Gitcoin round, where it's decentralized distribution of content. And we had like 50 hosts. We rotate every 30 minutes to an hour and broadcast that out across many different social media channels. That was kind of our first initiative. And we really got to form these super strong bonds. I mentioned Edge City before. I actually met a lot of the people that I'd been speaking so much with online IRL for the first time at Edge City. And it felt like a family reunion, because we really first couple of days, people shilling their Bitcoin grants. But after that, people really go deep and share some deep experiences about what they've been through. Spending 2 weeks with each other, many, many hours, you actually get that time to go deep. And so that was our first initiative. The second initiative is Regenaissance. So Regenaissance is a series of events. I've been doing these Twitter spaces every Monday talking about it, and it's turned into a framework where now different event organizers around the world have taken this model and have run with it. And we have 7 Regenaissance events planned over the next year. And so the goal there is, yes, to unite and grow the Regen movement, but more specifically to usher in a regenerative future where people are really using this technology for positive use cases. I think that there will be another renaissance potentially in our lifetime. Some people say it's already starting, and we want that next renaissance to be good for the world because there's going to be so many new things created. And we want those new creations to be net good because right now, most businesses have a negative impact in the world, but there is a new wave of social enterprise and entrepreneurs that are using that. And so these events, I think, are really going to help focus on that and bring that out of people so that we can do our best, most impactful work.
So much to go off from there. Tell me about these 24-hour live streams. That sounds crazy, Jimi. Who thought of that and why did you do that? Just explain.
Okay. So actually the way that I got onboarded into Web3 was a community called the Social Bees. So Social Bees University was an NFT collection, a little bit similar to Nouns in the sense that it's a DAO where the NFT is the voting mechanism, but they were live for 24/7 for a pretty long period of time. I think they did 50 days actually. And I knew that at any moment of any day, whenever I had time, I could go in there and I could ask questions. And that definitely served as inspiration. And then as we were talking about how could we give a platform for everyone, because there's this thing where some people are doing really impactful work, but they're just not putting a lot of time or effort or might not have certain, social media talents, but they have amazing impact talents. Like, how do we provide a platform for everyone to share their passions? Because, you know, you can type whatever post and it might be well worded, but can you really hear the passion in someone's voice? Like, that is what allows you to, for me, when I'm donating on Gitcoin, I want to know that people are going to really put in the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to make something succeed. And that requires some level of passion. And so this has really been a great like discovery mechanism, but a beautiful consequence of that we didn't really think too much about is like the relationships, the deep relationships that are formed. So many different collaborations came out of this. And so it started with, 24/7 Spaces. That was like V1. And then V2 is where we take that audio from Twitter Spaces on the browser. We do a share screen concept with Streamlabs and then broadcast that out. And we just grew more and more channel partners. Now I think it's more than 20 different channels. It was 17 last Gitcoin round. And we just keep adding these channels. So we're like live everywhere all the time. And in the suggested on the right, it's like, hey, what's happening on X? Like if you're following these pages, since we're live on so many different X pages, it was literally 100% of the suggested was all just like, let's go live, let's go live, let's go live. And so we just like really reached so many people. In a 2-week period on a brand new Twitter page, we got 52% more Twitter Space listeners than the Gitcoin page did the entire year, having gone for like 6 years, hundreds of thousands of followers. That's the potential of cross-pollination of all these communities coming together.
Channel partners, tell us about that. That's brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, so I reached out to, so there's Bankless DAO, there's Refi DAO, there's Solarpunk DAO, there's TreeGen DAO, Coconut Network, tons of these different channel partners that come on board, right? And it's kind of a no-brainer for them because we're giving them the opportunity to be always live for like 24 hours. And when you're live, your page gets discovered more. I mean, it's on the suggested on the side. When you're scrolling through around your profile picture, there's things hovering around the PFP, and it's like, it's benefiting everyone. It's giving an equal platform. It's supporting all the grantees. But it definitely helps the channel partners as well to get more reach and to get them, put themselves out there. And so we just grew more and more and more and did outreach. And shout out to Pranav, who is our grow officer for partnerships. He's been continually getting more and more channel partners on board so that we can, just reach as many people as we possibly can. My MacBook Air definitely didn't have the RAM to process it all. So then we went with like another solution. Wasabi has worked some amazing magic to help us pull this off in the background. And so that's how we are able to grow live everywhere.
Shout out Pranav and shout out to the Wasabi homies that are making it happen.
Legends.
So you've made just tons of great friends through these live streams and you've created a lot of win-win situations, it sounds like.
Okay, so the first time that we did this, people were calling it the Gaspocalypse round. I think it was GR 16 or 17. And like, so to donate on Gitcoin, it was L1 Ethereum. It was like $10 and people were trying to donate $1 and it cost them 10. And so like the donations were tough, but that was the first time where we launched this. And so people were like, all right, we're going to wait till the gas chills out. But what can we do in the meantime? And that's when we had this always live thing in terms of win-win, we just started coming up with different ways we can collaborate, right? So that's when we came up with, for example, TreeGyz is we doing this like Regenaissance Festival. Like we talked about hackathons and like how do we have like so my friend from Lunco, he does tons of hackathons and hardware hackathons. We think about how do we make like tree planting robots and different things like this. So that was one collaboration. And there were just all these collaborations that just kept stacking on top of each other because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everyone has a jigsaw piece that fits into the greater puzzle of regeneration or whatever kind of public goods positive impact people are trying to do, and figuring out which piece you can really do the best job at and what other pieces can fit together. Really what we discovered through these 24/7 spaces. And I was there almost every waking hour, right? Sometimes I was multitasking, but I was always there. And so the dots just kept connecting and people also started introducing other people to each other. And that reminds me, when I interviewed Snacks from Pizza DAO, he said, an audience is when everyone knows the person on stage. A community is when everyone knows everyone. And so that's a beautiful thing about Twitter Spaces, is because you can connect the dots and people can come up and meet each other and everyone can talk to everyone. And so just creating that container for people to do that it led to some really beautiful things.
Incredible. Is Max Impact Live part of your live streams, or is that?
It's one
how
of
would
the
you describe Max? Yeah, how would you describe?
Yeah. So Max Impact, the purpose is to empower change makers to maximize their positive impact by leveraging the latest and greatest technology. So V1, we were kind of winging it in a lot of ways, just having free flow conversations and shill sessions. V2 of this Let's Grow Live concept, it was a lot more like programming. Like we had these shows within the broader thing, and Max Impact was definitely one of those shows. The reason why I'm so passionate, I've done 466 episodes now, I think.
Of Max Impact?
Of Max Impact specifically, yeah.
Wow.
It's because when I was living without any like clear purpose in my life, and then fast forward to now where I have a very clear and inspiring mission and purpose and reason to jump out of bed in the morning, it's literally like night and day. It's like I was in a bad place to being in the best place and like just completely flourishing and, living my best life. And I also have the understanding that it's like, I can't solve the climate crisis. Even my startup, Regens, can't solve the climate crisis. It takes a movement of people to actually do this. It takes many, many people tapping into that force, that energy, that potential passion that can light them up and empower them to do amazing things. And so I really want other people to go through that transformation. And I really want other people to make the most impact they possibly can, because the end result of impact is what I genuinely care about. And I know that technology is what can really take people to that next level, And so yeah, I love doing Max Impact. I love picking people's brains. I'm like learning, 5-6 days a week from people that it's worth it for me. And then the side benefit is that I get to connect people after every episode. I tell people to follow everyone. I'm not just like follow the speakers or please follow me. It's like, follow everyone and connect with each other and DM them and see how you can help each other. Cause I really want everyone to know everyone and to ultimately collab and do more together. There's so much more you can do when you're united than when you're working in silos.
Dude, I totally agree with everything you said. And I'm just so amazed that you've done 400 plus episodes. Do you understand just how much stamina and consistency you have? What is the role that the energy and consistency play in your philosophy?
In my philosophy, in my approach, the way that I think about things and do things, I think there's no way I would even set out to do some of the crazy things that I've done if it weren't for that energy that I'm able to tap into. So, for example, I know you're aware of the tree planting Guinness World Record that I did, 30,469 trees in a 24-hour period. That was the third time that I did that. 24 hours nonstop to make it an official Guinness World Record, right? And I got a bunch of those episodes out in like 60 hours because me personally was alive for 60 hours straight. I slept for 45 minutes from Friday morning to Sunday night, completely sober. I was live interviewing almost a new person every hour in Refi. And why did I do that? Okay, so completely crazy. Mr. Beast, who's now probably the biggest influencer in the world, when he passed 20 million subscribers, everyone kind of spammed him online and said, hey, 20 million subscribers, plant 20 million trees. And just because everyone asked him to, he actually did it and pulled it off. And he was about to pass 200 million. And so I was like, yo, 1 sub, 1 tree, like, let's make that happen. And so that's why I was live for 60 hours, because I was doing a bunch of like giveaways and people contributed NFTs and all these things, and we spammed him. Didn't get his personal attention, but I now have 5 degrees separation, 5 contacts with 1 degree separation to Mr. Beast. And now that I have this official Guinness World Record, I'm using that as leverage to try to get on his radar so that we can, grow a movement, right? I ultimately want to break this next record of 560 million people, 560 million trees in a day, and that takes a lot of people. That takes a movement. So It's because I had that clear outcome that really gets me excited that I was able to do all these crazy things. And so what role does that like stamina and that energy play? I mean, it's everything. I mean, like if this was purely just about like banking or how to get rich, right, I wouldn't even try. I mean, if I did try, I would definitely burn out. I'm not some Super Saiyan, crazy, just born with stamina person. Like I said, I've lived that life without passion where I struggled to get out of bed because it was just like, why, like if you don't have a why, strong why, then why would you do any of it? And so that's always the first question that I ask people. I'm like, what's your why? If you're doing something cool, you must have a why. There must be a reason why you're doing what you're doing, right? And so it's everything.
So you've learned a lot about the power of setting a big, audacious goal, big, hairy, audacious goal. Would you recommend that for everyone?
Everyone. I think if you're shooting for the stars, even if you miss, you're going to land on the moon. Like you gotta, you gotta stretch yourself. Like you're not gonna grow unless you're living at the edge of your comfort zone, right? And so, yeah, what would you lose from setting a big goal? Are you going to be disappointed in yourself? It's like, well, even just from trying, like I would rather have a big goal and completely miss and fail than not have a big goal and just try to go for something miniature, because it's who you become in that process that's important, not always the outcome. It's the striving for it that pushes you to do so much more. So yeah, I think everyone could benefit from that. Even if your goal is to just provide for your family and work an office job or whatever it may be, it's like, well, how could you be the absolute best in that field? And even if you don't hit it, you're gonna, I think, be more excited about what you're doing just to try. So yeah, I think so. I think everyone should.
So the huge goal of planting all those mangroves, why did you set that goal?
Because I knew that was the first step towards the next goal of 560 million. I started with 560 million in a day. And then I knew, okay, well, if I could break the personal Guinness World Record, then I can use that as leverage to get here. But why is that so important? Well, depends how many layers of the onion we want to peel away. Like, I know that just from a high level, when we achieve that, we will have sparked a movement, and that movement will be able to accomplish so much. Like, we will be unstoppable at that point. We'll be able to literally continuously regenerate. If we can do 560 million trees in a day, like what can we not do in a year? Like, that's sky's the limit. And why do we need to regenerate so much? Well, we've really messed up nature in a lot of ways. And in 2019, you probably saw the news of the forest fires in Australia. A lot of people see that a little bit and they kind of look away, especially people who like are empaths and feel emotions very strongly. I forced myself to just watch all of it, and it broke me, man. Like I literally broke down, and I was feeling some of the worst feelings I've ever felt in my life, until the point where I said, all right, let me try to do something. And this is back in the Facebook fundraiser days when they launched that feature. I just went live, like raw, face all messed up. It was just like sharing my feelings and how twisted it was, that this was like hundreds of holocausts equivalent of sentient beings, burning alive. Like, how messed up is that? And human actions have perpetuated this forward. And so I launched a fundraiser, raised several $1,000s, and I felt like, okay, I didn't solve it, but we did something, and I just kept leaning into that feeling. And I feel like your body has this way of letting you know, like, yes, you're on the right track. You're on the right path that you were born to do. Similarly, if you're off track and off purpose and not doing what you're made to be doing, your body's also going to let you know. And so I've just been paying attention to that. And that's why I really want to strive for these big numbers. Like, people need to be inspired about tree planting. It can be kind of boring. But if you have a big goal and you can gamify and you can make it really exciting for people, then yeah, you can make it fun, and you can make it where a lot of people genuinely want to do it, not just as a chore, but as something that can be enjoyable for its own sake.
You do it so big, you do it so enthusiastically. It's super infectious. Like tree planting, associating that with kind of superheroic behavior, like an essence, a superheroic essence. I didn't have that until I met you, and so I just really applaud you for being such a leader.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. I'm humbled. I don't see myself as a particularly special person. I have weaknesses out the wazoo, uh, and I'm not even a technical person. I'm fascinated by technology. I'm not a developer. I try, dude, can't. But by just doing my best in like my area, I think we can, you can find really great people, and bringing good people together who can complement you and to try to support something. They're the real heroes, man. Like they're the people who are making it happen. Dude, if it was just Jimmy, 30,000 trees, yeah, it's the most someone's planted in a day, but it's not going to change anything like that significantly, it's everyone doing it. And dude, there's so many, like the people who cover, and then when they got your back too, like when shit inevitably hits the fan, when life throws you curveballs and you have all these challenges, setbacks, and people, they come at you or whatever, it's like just knowing that people got you, that is a beautiful thing, man. And yeah, I remember you said this online one time, like the fact that maybe it was the fact that someone, if you really needed it, there's a community out there that would like send you money if you were in like an emergency or something, right? Mm-hmm. Like, dude, for the first time in my life, I feel like that there's this huge community out there. And, I try to practice gratitude every morning. Doesn't happen every morning, but I try. And one of the things that always comes up is the fact that there is this amazing community out there that's like, I feel like they've genuinely got my back. And, that's one of the coolest things in the world, to just know that that's there. And I've been, seeing some videos about how like the number one thing for even like life expectancy is community and relationships. It's like, it genuinely makes us live longer. And it's in the Happiness Advantage book, they were saying that's the number one thing for human happiness as well. It's just knowing that there's people who are going to celebrate with you when you crush it, and they'll catch you when shit hits the fan. It's like, it's probably the most important thing. And so to be able to create that community for other people to connect, like I know there's a bunch of lonely people out there. There's a bunch of people who do feel disconnected, but to give them this container and be like, dude, you're welcome here. Like that's really fulfilling for me too, It's not just the fact that I'm a part of the community. It's the fact that people, they finally feel like they're welcome somewhere, and like, hey, I found my tribe. Like these are my people. That's that's a really special thing. And that's like, I think that makes an impact that we can't really measure, but we know that it's pretty profound.
You definitely feel it when you haven't had it, and then you have it, or you have it, and then you enter a period in your life where it doesn't feel like you have that richness of a community. And so I'm so happy to hear that you feel kind of that the deserved like blanket of support that you have worked so hard for. I want to hear more about community in tech. I know that you're not like spending time writing a bunch of code every day, but you are really savvy about the tools that you use to grow your community. Do you want to talk about some of the tools that you use?
Sure. Yeah. So we've given Discord a good crack, and I'm sorry for the people who love Discord, but personally I prefer Telegram. I feel like it has the channels, you can call each other, you can have meetings in there. I think the Telegram founder is pretty cool. They're doing with privacy, and also,
Totally.
Yeah, they're even launching a blockchain, and they're doing pretty cool stuff. So I think TG is where it's at. When you go to these conferences as well, I always got the QR code ready, just scan the QR, boom. That's like a really easy way to connect with a bunch of people. So that's a great tool. Obviously, X.com is a great tool. I mean, like, when's the last time Elon failed at a business? I'll wait. Like, dude crushes it. I mean, I don't know why Spaces still has bugs, but it's still an amazing tool, right? The way that they've even brought in like the screen share feature and the video feature and these different things into Spaces, like they're moving pretty quick, and that guy ships. So these are the obvious ones. Beyond that, so now that we're doing this event, we're actually tapping into some kind of like growth hacking or like kind of giveaway contest tools. So Zeely is an interesting one where you can have different steps and then, you know, post stuff, follow stuff, and all these things to enter to win. Those Zeely, like, okay, you kind of got to be on computer.
What?
Go ahead.
What's Zeely? How do you spell it?
Zealy. Yeah. Zealy. Yeah. Pardon me?
2 E's or 1 E?
One and then an A. Zealy. Yeah.
Cool. Is this
Yeah.
related to crypto?
I think it is. Yeah. I think you need like a wallet to sign in kind of thing. And
Nice.
a lot of people use it for like airdrop hunting or like, it's just like a quest type of thing, right? Do the quests, share the stuff. Kingfisher, this guy Will T in my community is a big fan of Guild as well, and it's used that as well for the communities. And I think you do similar things with tasks in there. When you do the tasks, you get rewards, and that's another one that we're exploring. Actually, in Warpcast, the Farcaster application is a really easy thing that I just bookmark, where it's so easy to make a frame and do a free mint. But to get the free mint, you have to recast and like. So actually, we're doing like tickets through Unlock Protocol, and Unlock Protocol they also have like you can do like affiliate links as well if you want to like reward people who are selling tickets. So that's kind of cool how you can do that. But you can also just send out airdrops, and so I created the frame on Warpcast. It's super easy. You just need a link to the image, and then boom, free mint, like, recast, mint, bam, easy. You have the NFT. And because there's that like and recast, that means you can go from the recent to the main channel. As soon as people go to the channel, they see it right there. So that's been very successful for getting the word out and building that out. And another thing with Warpcast is like there are all these like kind of airdrop. So it started with Degen channel where like people are tipping each other, and just by being active they're getting these airdrops. And now there's a Regen channel as well. It's like a meme coin that's come out on as well too. And they took a similar model where you have tipping and you have getting points, leaderboards. Leaderboards are great. People love a good leaderboard, being able to go to the top of the leaderboard just by posting in those channels. And also they've gamified like you're donating on Gitcoin or Giveth and stuff like this. So yeah, Warpcast is great, particularly for reaching the Web3 crowd. And yeah, those are the kind of the main ones that we're using for this community building stuff. I'm trying to think if there are other ones. Back in the day, I used to use hive.co, hive.co. That's also like a giveaway channel where you have multi-steps. And the cool thing there with the growth hacking is like, you get a special link. If you share that with someone to participate in the competition, then they get like 100 entries to the competition or something crazy, and then that really encourages people to share the competition itself. And then if one can lead to 2 and 2 can lead to 4, then boom, you're really growing. But that's more like Web 2. I don't think they have X in there, so it's like, okay, we're not going to use that anymore. So then Zeely, Guild, this is the way.
If you want a great competition platform that has the whole affiliate share your link thing, Andros, who built Wonderverse, has this new platform that's amazing called Drops.house.
Drops.house.
Yeah,
Okay.
You should check it out.
Is it a regular spelling of house or H-A-U-S? Yeah. Drops.house. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Saving that for later. Thank you.
So it's great for people. Yeah, it's great for people that have great followings. It rewards that, but also rewards people that know people that have good followings that participate. Just like incentivize however you can. And also has all these different Web3 features.
Yeah, rewarding people for spreading the word and growing the pie is something that crypto definitely needs to nail, because like airdrops are great, Like, how can you reward people who are also growing and spreading the word and things like this? So cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thank you, man.
Totally. So you talked earlier about Regenaissance. You want to talk about this festival series that you have schemed up, and why do events matter to you? You're like this big live stream kind of show guy, but you also really value in-person stuff. So tell me about events and tell me about Regenaissance Festival.
Yeah. I see online events and live streaming, well, like spaces and things like this. It's kind of like a top of funnel container where it allows many people to connect irrespective of geographical boundaries. But there's just something about, hugging it out or getting down on the dance floor with someone that just hits different, right? It's just, when you talk about like actually really being like a friend, like, or actually feeling like someone's a brother, or like, you feel that deep connection, meeting up, it definitely accelerates that a lot. And I've experienced firsthand just how impactful that can be, like going to events, meeting people. I mean, the best days of my life, well, yeah, number one and number two, both at festivals. Like, it's just like there's this thing called Tony Robbins gratitude, where priming. If you type that Tony Robbins priming into YouTube, 10 out of 10 would recommend if you can get 15 minutes in your morning for this priming activity, where it involves breathing, it involves kind of like moving and breathing, and then visualization and trying to relive 3 of your favorite moments. And 2 out of the 3 are always at these events where I was just connecting. And what was beautiful is I was going through like a rough breakup at this festival called EDC. And then Kygo came on stage and played the song Remind Me to Forget. And that song just instantly healed whatever I was going through. Instantly.
Wow.
I was just like, all right, I'm good now. And I was so over the moon, ecstatic in that moment, that whoever I like looked at, I made them just beam with joy. And this is like my favorite thing to do, is to make someone happy. Like, I think that's a fundamental part of human nature. It makes us feel good to make other people happy, right? But for empaths, maybe it's a little bit more. And if you can see it, and particularly if you can see a transition, that was the best thing. So I became even more happy because I made this person happy. And then I literally just went to the next person. The same thing happened. I made them stoked, and that made me even more stoked and happy. And then I literally did this all around me in a circle, and everyone was just looking at me, just soaking in the vibes. And it was like one of the greatest moments of my life. And like to know that you can help people go through this transition and live. So when I threw a IRL like camping festival in Canada, people told me like they found like what their purpose is in the world, like on the festival grounds, doing these dyads where they ask these questions back and forth to each other, like the same question, but just going deeper and deeper each level. And people told me like they co-founded nonprofits on the festival grounds and things like this. And so like seeing that impact and knowing that people can go through that kind of transformation can, it really gives me a lot of fulfillment. And yeah, IRL definitely hits different. And that's where the real relationships and friendships are made. And as we said, like that's literally one of the most important things in life, is to have those relationships and feel that sense of connection.
Couldn't agree more with everything you said. I love that positive feedback loop that you described of feeling happy already, and then seeing that your energy is helping other people be energized, and that makes you more energized. And that was totally how I felt during Edge City Denver, right? And
yeah.
just also
Definitely.
I just know that like involving people like you into the experience is also just so catalytic as well. I want to hear, because I kind of promised that we'd get here, what did you like about Edge City Denver? What notes do you take?
Okay. The little things make such a big difference. So first of all, my first impression when I walked in was great. I mean, you were there as well, like welcoming through. You gave me I know from experience how busy and chaotic and hectic things must have been. But you took the time to like actually like give me this tour, and like that first experience was amazing. Right?
Oh,
And
that's helpful to hear.
also, the thing you did with the whiteboard, it was like write down, like, who do you love who's here or something like that. It was like the message there, right? And like people started writing, it was filled with names. The fact that people like wrote that down and expressed that they like actually loved someone there, you know, it might not be romantic, but it's just like love. Like, I love this person. Put that on
Yeah.
the thing. And like to put that in writing, like that was so cool. And I'm sure that really maybe, and also like all the little like areas that people had to hang out, like whether if it was like the bean bags or like this little chill area by the dance floor or, you know, by even in the second room. I mean, it was just such a cool venue with like all these little like hangout areas where people like, yeah, it's like a big event, but you have these one-on-one times, these nice little conversations where people can really connect and meet each other and go deeper on topics. And that was also really cool. And then experientially, you had a freaking ice bath and a sauna. Like, who does that? Like, it was such a cool thing to put together as well. And then all the content, that was really amazing. And yeah, it was clear that you were very thoughtful about bringing the right people. I also remember like these like little moments of surprise and delight, like just like bubbles on the dance floor. It's like, what? There's like bubbles. Like you felt like almost like this childlike spirit as well when you see bubbles going like just going through. Like that was really cool. Like all these little moments that made up the experience. Yeah, so experientially, like all those little details actually make a big difference in how people get to experience the event. So yeah, you crushed it, man.
I appreciate that. And it was totally a team effort from the venue staff to this event producer we brought on and, you know, the Edge City team. And I had such a great experience that whole week. I was so glad that you were able to make it. And, you know, we tried to really create a diverse experience with a lot of fun dance parties, plus really, you know, brainiac talks and panels.
Yeah.
And like you said, these different nooks and crannies that included like a co-working with really high-speed internet, just something that we really wanted to make sure was right because we just knew our audience, right? Like, these are very techy, plugged-in people that they're taking a lot of time out of their day to come to possibly multiple days out of their week, and everyone has meetings, everyone has calls. It's hard to take off a full day, several days in a row. But yeah, I'm just glad you had a great time, and you know, it's hard to replicate something like that because of all the different things that have to come together. But that definitely sets a really high bar for me for what kinds of events that I want to be involved in. And I'm glad that it sounds like you have internalized some principles that you really soaked in from that experience.
100%. Yeah, no, like I said, been taking notes, and we'll definitely be trying to implement some of those elements, perhaps with my own twist, but definitely some of those elements at the Regenaissance. So yeah, I'm super grateful that you helped me get there. Like I literally wasn't able to make out all these things, and you just like sent that through some Ethereum, and I'm like, all right, I'm coming. And dude, it changed the core. I don't know that I would have a Guinness World Record right now if you didn't do that, because that led to sponsorships, that led to partnerships, that led to all these different things. Like it was a domino effect of events, dude.
Amazing.
Like you set all that in motion. So like, thank you, man. Like that was some life-changing shiz right there.
I'm really sensitive to energy, good energy, and how infectious that is. I just think that it's so hard to create energy online, and you've managed to do that. And I just know that like it's like a whole nother level in person. And I know that you have this spirit of gratitude and you're super resourceful. So just like this just makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to help the world for you to be more present where there's just a lot of potential partnerships to be formed. So I'm so glad that it worked out, and I'm really, really happy that the world record thing got fulfilled. And I'm also not surprised, but it's also just it's always just so worth celebrating. It's amazing.
Thank you. And that's just the beginning, like I said, that's step one. And so like now that we've done that, boom, we're going for that next goal, baby. Earth Day 2025
Totally.
is going to be an incredible time.
Totally. What do people get wrong about community building?
That you can like fake it or like just pay a bunch of bots and like, hey, look, we got followers or Telegram users. It's like, I think maybe that worked like the last bull run, but people are pretty switched on to that kind of thing. And I think it's pretty obvious when there are fake engagement and fake communities out there. And so, yeah, you got to put in the time. You got to be present.
Totally.
You got to genuinely care about it. Don't just do it because, I mean, it is essential for anything in Web3. You need a community. But if you don't care about the community members, if you're not looking out, then as a leader, why would the people within the community look out for each other? If they're looking up to a leader of the community and their values are, extractive or whatever, like why would they support one another? And like that's generally what you want, right? Is you want everyone helping out and like trying to give more than they take. And so definitely the leaders need to start with that mentality, that they need to start with that, how can I help this person? Just give your full undivided attention if you like have an opportunity to hear about what someone's trying to do. And so yeah, I think those are some of the main ones, is like, yeah, just trying to fake it or just trying to do it maybe for the wrong reasons or not, be in line with like the values that anyone would want in a community, really.
It just doesn't make sense to start or weave or grow a community if you're not all about it. And to me, when I think of a neologism, a new term like Regenaissance, and someone trying to build that into this kind of mimetic movement, real world on the ground movement as well, that person, those people have to fully embody the spirit of Regenaissance. And again, everyone has to stay humble, even with the recognition that they get. But I feel like you really deserve to, it just makes sense for you to be one of the more catalytic leaders.
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot, and I'll take it, but I'll also shine light that like Let's Grow DAO is one person, one vote. And there are so many amazing people who like are absolutely essential. If it wasn't for Udkarsh thinking about tokenomics, if it wasn't for Wasabi thinking about DAO design, if it wasn't for Anna who took this Let's Grow Live concept that we co-created and just ran with it as the growth officer, I wouldn't be able to do Regenaissance and really commit to that, because there's this whole other thing, if it wasn't for Pranav doing all the partnerships, if it wasn't for all these, I love the 0 to 1. 1 is not going to get you there, and so there are so many great people who are really required to take the baton and help you bring it further. One is not at all, what's necessary.
0 to 1 is fun. It's easy to be fueled by novelty.
Yeah.
But to take it way further, you got to do what you are doing, which is empowering and just being empowered by hundreds of other people, which is amazing.
It's the collective. It's everyone. And so grateful to have been able to meet these humans, just to hang out with them and pick their brains, let alone collaborate and delegate and, brainstorm together is, it's a dream. And if it wasn't for these communities and these other containers that originally brought us together, that wouldn't exist, If I was just, who can I meet physically or like, not putting myself out there, like I would literally be stuck at 1. And so that's one of the powers of community too, right? It's like, who do you know? And who can you call upon for when you get stuck? Because you're going to get stuck. There's going to be so many setbacks and things in your way that can prevent you from doing what you need to do. It's absolutely essential to have have a crew around you that is domain expertise and is able to help you crush it. So even with like Regen's, my startup there, we have tons of just advisors. So many advisors in all these different areas because I'm learning every day, but there's so much that I do not know, and knowing what you don't know and then knowing who are the right people to bring together, that's essential, but you wouldn't be able to bring them together if it wasn't for a community. So shout out to all the community biddlers out there.
Shout out to all the community biddlers, indeed. On that note, any final advice that you have for the biddlers?
I'm going to rephrase something that I think I already kind of hinted at, is that when you're on the right path towards really what you're made to be doing, your body's going to let you know. When you're on the wrong path, your body's going to let you know. And it's so easy to get caught up in so many different things, to just dismiss these little signals, like the intuition that's in your gut that's like guiding you towards something or away from something else. It's easy to dismiss it. It's easy to not pay attention. But being really in tune with that, I think that's like the best compass that we can have for what we should be putting our energy into, you know, where focus goes, energy flows. And if we're focusing on the wrong things, you know, it's not going to lead to anything significant, because what's significant in your life is literally those things that are guiding you inside. Like the compass is internal. You just need to like tap into it and really like remind yourself like what that is, because it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to get pulled in a million different directions. But you already know deep down what you should be doing and what community you should be building and how you should be building it, right? It's like you want to do unto others as they as you want them to do unto you. It's like these things are obvious, but if you don't like remind yourself, very easy to forget. And so listen carefully to your internal intrinsic motivations and signals.
I think what you're implying is that people get presented with a lot of things that they could be doing, things that they could watch, read, part-time jobs, things that they could attend, events that they could attend, and they often have to say no to whatever is not deeply aligned. Jimmy, what is something that you have said no to? Not because it wasn't awesome in its own right, but because it wasn't for you.
So many things, you know, all the time. I mean, literally just a couple weeks ago, I won't name names, but I was asked to be the community manager of a Bitcoin related kind of L2 type thing. And it was cool. It was great technology. The money's right there on the table. They're well funded. But like, and you know, I'm friends with them. And so I did post about it once. But people, my followers were like, were you hacked? You know, it's like, it's not you. Like, what? Is Jimmy hacked? And I'm like, no, like, it's actually just kind of, you know. And it's like, well, you know, and so yeah, I said no to that because I was like, you know, I could put in some energy. I could probably help you. I might just give you some recommendations for free and things like this. But at the end of the day, that's not me. Now, other things that I've said no to, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ideas. Even sometimes I'm saying no to myself. Sometimes, you know, a million ideas of things I could be running with, right? But also sometimes you need to say no to like, okay, there's only so much that you can accomplish initially, you know? Maybe I'll be at a point where you're like, you know, some ultra successful entrepreneur that can just throw money at ideas. But when you're in those earlier stages, like you really do have to focus. So sometimes you have to say no to yourself as well and those ideas that you come up with. But, you know, I'll give them evaluation. Be like, hey, is this going to make a big impact? Is this going to be something that I'll thrive doing? Is this, you know, is it like part of your ikigai where you're actually going to make a difference and it's going to be rewarded and it's going to be in flow with that? Because there are so many trade-offs. Even if it's amazing and ticks a lot of boxes, it's like, well, if I do that, I can't do this. So, yeah, all the time.
Such a great story, and it's not that you aren't grateful to be invited to pursue that potential opportunity. It just wasn't fully aligned with your ikigai. So thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, happy to. I'm super blessed that this exists. By the way, I have had a lot of blessings and privilege in my life, like, and it's crazy to think that this actually like brought me to the point of like immense lack of fulfillment and like actually like depressed. It was like one of the things that actually made me depressed. So my dad has a cool business. It's like, you know, European food and wine distribution in Japan. So great business. And to be able to be born where you have the opportunity to actually like take that business, and he wanted me to like run it. He like from a very early stage, he's like, I want you to run this business. And that's amazing blessing, super privilege. Like that is amazing, right? But it was not at all what I was born to do in the world. And just knowing that like my future was being decided for me and that I was just following in those footsteps, like it was eroding away at my soul. And a few other things happened that also led to that like dark moment. But like that was one of the big things that just sucked the life out of me until one day I was like, I gotta make a change. Like I can't like just live like this. I had like no reason to do anything, and I just had zero energy and motivation. The light was just completely sucked out. And then my roommate was like, hey, this girl invited me to go to a student club meeting. It's a charity thing. You want to come through? And I don't want to go by myself. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I'll go to that. At the time, I was saying no to all kinds of things because I went in this weird spiral where like I wanted to make other people happy, but since I was in a dark place, like I didn't want to rub off whatever, and that made me feel worse because I like to be around people, all this weird stuff. But I started to say yes to that. I'm like, you know what? Yes, I'll go to the thing. Went to the meeting, and they were flicking through a presentation on the screen, and they were like, these are all the ways we're fundraising. We're doing bake sales, we're doing all this stuff. And one of the things was this crazy party in a nightclub came up on the screen. And the girl was like, this downtown nightclub promoter in Vancouver said, hey, if you sell tickets to this event, we can fund a clean water well over in Kenya. And something inside of me just clicked, and I felt this energy, and I was like, put my hand up. No one knew me there except my roommate, but it was just the sheer enthusiasm. I like convinced them to let me run that event. and I called that first event Party Well because we're funding water wells, right? And it didn't do super well, but the next one sold out and we funded an entire well, and it was this massive production. We like absolutely crushed it. And before then, I literally would sometimes see people that I know and look the other way. Like I was super introverted. I know it's crazy to think about now because I'm always speaking to people, but like I would actually avoid human contact in a lot of ways. But I knew to make that event a success, I had to put myself out of my comfort zone. I had to actually speak with people. And so I went to the most high foot traffic area of my university campus, the water fountain. I pitched every single person who walked by. And, you know, it was that energy that I was tapping into where people weren't eventually just like, okay, I'll come to your party. They're like, how can I help you, dude? And it just grew into its own student club. And then it grew into a nonprofit, and the parties got bigger and bigger until we threw a festival. And then COVID happened and we couldn't throw events anymore. And then we did a digital event that reached 3.5 million people online. And then eventually I took a step back from events and focused on what was really important. To me, it was always the impact. And so that's why my brother and I got a one-way ticket to Africa. We started doing the biosand water filters in Uganda, and things got crazy with the election. And then we went to Kenya. And then I started going to these Rotary meetings, Rotary clubs. I'm third generation Rotarian, this philanthropic club. There's grandparents on both sides. Anyway, that they were doing mangrove tree planting. I learned mangroves absorb 8 times more carbon out of the atmosphere compared with terrestrial forests. And at the same time, my friend from university was hitting me up about NFTs when they were going crazy. And they're like, you should use this for transparency and impact rewards. And then I just went down this rabbit hole. And so that completely changed the course of my life. And it was all about just like leaning into those feelings and trying to put myself out of the comfort zone. But yeah, super grateful. I know this is a bit of a tangent, but like grateful for those opportunities. Like on the surface level, had all these things which are a blessing. I don't want to discount that. But if you're not doing what you're born to do, then your body's going to let you know. And that was how everything completely changed in my life. And I became a totally different person. I don't think people back then would recognize who I kind of am now, because it's like, I just like repetition. I've become a lot more outgoing, a lot more, I had zero hesitation now. Anyone at all, I will, zero hesitation to speak to anyone.
who you're meant to be. You are in the process of becoming who you are meant to be. And I love that. I see that. And I just thank you so much for sharing your amazing spirit with us and insights with us today.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate you so much. This has been a really cool podcast. I appreciate you. I look forward to listening to the other episodes. So you're gonna crush it, and this has been really great. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks so much, Jimi. Let's grow.
Let's
the Gilded
grow.
Age. All right, appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you too.
I want to end with a few notes. Number one, if you want to collect this episode, you can do so on pods.media/guild. The exact link is in the description. Minting this episode enables you to join our audience community on Telegram and shape the future of this podcast. And of course, we have to give a shout out to the host of this podcast, Guild, the ultimate toolkit for on-chain communities. Create your guild at guild.xyz. Until the next episode of the Gilded Age, peace.